Washington has joined in support of California's lawsuit challenging the president's actions. We want Washingtonians to know that we are working hard and coordinating closely to ensure that our state is prepared. I'm here today with my fellow elected officials and community leaders to ask the people of Washington State to join us in protecting our state by ensuring that demonstrations over the weekend are peaceful. I support, to put it mildly, the right of people to have their voices heard. I have, like I suspect the people behind me, attended many protests myself. In times like this, it is not just a right that people have to express their opinions about their government. In my view, it's their duty. It's that important. Speaking out against a chaotic administration that repeatedly violates the law is critical to our democracy. But we, of course, must do that peacefully and lawfully. Here's the way I look at it. Don't give Donald Trump an excuse to try to federalize the National Guard here in Washington State like he did in California. He wants to be able to say we cannot handle our own public safety issues here in Washington State. I want to emphasize I've been in very close communication with leaders across our state, city, county leaders, our National Guard, General Welsh, Spokane Mayor Lisa Brown. We've had many meetings over the past few days to make sure that we are as coordinated as we can possibly be in preparation for what will obviously be a day of protest all across our country. If there is violence, our law enforcement officers are prepared to handle it. That's what they're trained for. We do not need or want the president to interfere with our state. A federal court yesterday, President Trump illegally federalized the National Guard in California. A Ninth Circuit appellate court stayed that decision. Obviously, that case is ongoing. I'm happy to take questions about that as well. But Washington will be prepared if Donald Trump attempts a similar stunt in Washington State. So let's work together as a state, as a people, to not give Donald Trump what he wants. We are strongly encouraging all Washingtonians who plan to demonstrate to follow law and keep your protests peaceful. With that, I want to turn to our speakers. I just deeply appreciate they're all extremely busy, especially these days, but we just really wanted to come together to communicate to the people about the situation, about our preparations, and just really appreciate their strong leadership during these times. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Governor Ferguson, for bringing us together today and ensuring that we are all coordinated and ready for what may come our way. It's been 143 days since Donald Trump took office, and as of last night, we have a new war abroad and an increasingly authoritarian government in Washington, D.C. that has launched mass deportations, snatching and disappearing people off the streets without due process, and ICE raids that have swept up thousands of immigrants of all legal statuses across the country, including in California and here at home. This is psychological terror that's being inflicted on our families and our communities, and a suppression of any dissent that is a terrifying descent into the beginnings of authoritarianism. We in Congress appropriate funds for the Department of Homeland Security. We have statutory oversight authority and responsibility for what the federal government does, including ICE. And yet the Trump administration has already indicted one of my colleagues, Representative LaMonica McIver, simply for doing her job and conducting an inspection of an ICE facility. And then yesterday, an absolutely horrifying scene for all of us across the Capitol and across the country in Los Angeles, when Senator Alex Padilla, the top Democrat on the Immigration Subcommittee in the Senate, my counterpart, was assaulted, forced to the ground, and handcuffed, a U.S. senator, just as he was asking a question of Secretary Noem. As a very proud naturalized citizen myself, and as the top Democrat on the House Immigration Subcommittee, I deeply understand why people are terrified and furious, both about what is happening right now. And I believe we must continue to stand together and to push back peacefully. This right to peaceful protest is fundamental to American democracy, and it's actually how many of the great battles for justice in our country have been fought and won over history. And I'm proud to live in a state with these elected leaders where that right is respected and where we have shown time and time again that we know how to nonviolently, peacefully protest, placing our hands on that moral arc of the universe and pushing it more quickly towards justice. I'm proud myself, both prior to Congress as well as in Congress, with the late great civil rights hero, Representative John Lewis, to have been engaged in those nonviolent civil disobedience protests. From our history and from around the world, what we know is that nonviolent resistance is actually twice as likely to succeed and in achieving its goals and to be sustained over time. So, as the Trump administration tries its intimidation tactics on us, I urge people to continue your peaceful protests and build our movement of peaceful nonviolent resistance. Let us be smart. The Trump administration is going to continue escalating, going to continue to deploy the military against our own citizens as they did in California. They want us to be afraid and to not come out. They want us to provoke violence. They want a confrontation. They want sensational scenes on television, even if it's just AI created. They want the American people to be afraid so that we don't notice that they're stealing our health care and dramatically increasing the funding for an already out-of-control Department of Homeland Security. They want outside agitators and perhaps planted provocateurs to come in and incite us to their kind of violence. We cannot fall into that trap. Our governor, our mayor, our elected officials are organized. All of us are coordinating. We are ready to protect any peaceful protesters and to make sure that violence is not part of our streets. Let's not let them win. Let's meet their hate and their violence with our peace. Let's make sure that the American public sees clearly who they are and what they're doing. While they are promoting an authoritarian, militarized state, let's show them what peaceful protest, justice, and democracy really look like. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you. I'm King County Executive Shannon Braddock, and I want to take a moment to particularly thank Governor Ferguson for bringing us together and to thank our federal delegation in King County for all of the work that they are doing to fight against these overreaches from this federal administration. This administration has shown time and again that they will federally overreach, they will violate the law in attempts to usurp local control. King County continues to resist the unlawful and unconstitutional actions of the Trump administration, and we will protect our residents, and we will support and champion the constitutional right to protest freely and peacefully without interference. But as I need to reiterate, those rights do not extend to acts of violence. We can fight for our convictions and push back against the actions that threaten the values that define our region while following the law and keeping people safe. In King County, our Sheriff's Office follows state and local laws under the Keep Washington Working Act, and King County is indeed resisting all attempts to undermine our democracy and the laws outlined in the Constitution. So, to all of those planning to demonstrate this weekend, we encourage you to raise your voice against that which you do not agree with and support those who are being wronged. But do not take the bait and confuse destruction for defense. We can defend our rights and our values, and we can defend our Constitution and our democracy without destruction and violence. Let's raise our voices loudly, let's keep our communities safe, and let's be a model for the nation as we protest peacefully and resist this federal overreach. Thank you.
The Trump administration commandeering of the National Guard the deployment of U.S. Marines against residents, the weaponization of immigration enforcement is an egregious overreach of federal power. And you've heard that term said, overreach, by a few of my colleagues. I want to thank the governor for what I'll call the 3 C's. Communication with both the federal government and our great leadership under our Congresswoman Jayapal, the federal branch, the county branch, the state branch, all of the cities. Constant communication, which is critical during these times where we have to think tactically about how to address a situation like this. Collaborating amongst ourselves, communicating. I always tell my team, you can't over-communicate in situations like this. We continue to be unwavering in our support of our immigrant and refugee communities who are an essential part of our city, past and present. And I want to recognize our strong labor partners here that are leading us and partnering with us in this work. Thank you for being here. We are aware of rumors and media reports about tactical ICE teams being deployed in Seattle, but to be clear, as I think we've been on many occasions, the city does not coordinate with ICE, and we do not receive notification from ICE or the Department of Homeland Security about special tactical teams. We have to base our tactical preparations on rumors, so we don't have that line of communication, which would be ideal. I believe that a federal government actually has a sacred pact with cities and people. I don't know how you pull away health funds, public safety funds, cancer research funds. Violence and destruction only gives Trump what he wants, a spectacle that justifies his brazen use of force. So the City of Seattle and the Seattle Police Department are closely coordinating with our state partners on preparations for this weekend's demonstration so people can express their First Amendment rights safely. We will be activating our emergency operations center so all departments are coordinated on their response. But I close again by thanking our governor for his leadership, for coordinating with all of us. I've been in office for a few years now, and I have to tell you, this level of coordination, I haven't quite seen it this heightened in a situation like this. But this is what we get with the president we have. This is also where we will shine and demonstrate who we are. I've said on other occasions, we know who we are. We know what we stand for. We know how welcoming we are. We say that proudly. So thank you, Governor, and I will turn it over to our next speaker.
Thank you, Bruce, and thank you, Governor. Good morning, everyone. In case you don't recognize me, I am the proud mayor of the city of Tacoma and glad to be joining my colleagues here this morning. I really want to thank Governor Ferguson for bringing us all together. It is such an honor to stand next to all of these elected officials and all of these community members to really address an issue that all of our communities are facing, and we're going to do it as one community, as one city, as one county, and as one state together. I also want to thank Representative Jayapal, Congresswoman Jayapal, and all of our other federal delegation. Of course, in the city of Tacoma, I want to thank our 2 congressmen and our state senators for all the work that they're doing back there to make sure that we can do what we need to do here at home. First and foremost, I want to affirm the right of every person to make their voice heard. Peaceful protest is a cornerstone of our democracy, and we honor that. As tensions continue to rise across this country, I urge our communities to channel our frustration into passion, into peaceful, constructive action. Our commitment to justice and to what is right is our message, and that message should not and will not be clouded with violence and destruction. We are all seeing around us communities being harmed, and we are seeing rights being violated. It is deeply concerning, and it should really alarm us all, and that's why we're here today. Because we can and we must respond as individuals on behalf of our communities. We can hold space for both outrage and responsibility. And I am grateful to everyone who devotes their time to raise their voices and to keep attention on this important issue. In the city of Tacoma, I'm proud to say that we have a very long history of using our voices to speak up for what is right and doing it peacefully, and I expect nothing but the same from Tacoma and Pierce County. It is our responsibility as government to protect this voice and to also provide opportunities for safe demonstrations. It's what we've done, and it's what we will continue to do. Now, I want the public to know that your city leaders are in constant coordination with public safety officials, community leaders, regional partners, and as you can see today, even with our state and federal partners. We are prepared, we are working proactively, and we will keep our cities, our counties, and all of Washington safe while upholding the values of justice and free expression for all. Thank you.
So thank you, Governor. So my name is Faye Gunther. I'm the president of UFCW 3000. We represent over 55,000 frontline workers in grocery, healthcare, retail, and other industries in the Pacific Northwest. I grew up 12 miles outside of a town of 150 people. Big cities worried me until I moved to this city here in 1999, and I realized that all of us are facing the same struggles. I talk to workers every single day. People are mad. They're mad at the state of the world, and they have been for some time all across the state. Trump wants to use our anger against us to turn us on each other, and now to use Seattle as a political stunt. This stunt will hurt grocery store workers. This stunt will hurt healthcare workers, and we do not need that. My grandfather served in the military like so many of your family members. We were raised to know that we should not use our military on our own people. My grandfather passed away many years ago, and he would die again if he saw what Trump was doing in LA. It is true. We like to protest here in Seattle. People here in Seattle love democracy. We love it so much that we like to exercise our rights frequently and loudly. We march peacefully to protect all of our rights, our freedom of speech, our Constitution. And I march in rural communities too. Rural folks love democracy and freedom just as much as people here in Seattle. If we're going to rally together tomorrow, we are going to rally together tomorrow. For those who plan to attend, I want to ask you to do more than just rally and protest tomorrow. After we make our voices heard, we need to organize to build permanent power. You won't be surprised to learn that my favorite way to organize is into a union. Unions have the infrastructure. Unions have the infrastructure and the resources we need to protect our democracy. When workers fight for a union at their workplace and pool their money together to create change, our democracy thrives. We have the right to protest. We are going to protest together, non-violently, and then we're going to go organize. We're going to organize our coworkers, our fellow students, our neighbors. We're going to organize from Spokane to Oysterville, from Omak to Pasco. That's how we build power that lasts longer than a weekend. That's how we build power to save our democracy, and that's how we build power to stop a wannabe king.
Yeah. All right. Woo! Nice. Woo! Hey.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Gurmai Zahalai. I'm the chair of the King County Council, and I want to thank all of our elected partners who are here, our labor partners, and definitely our media professionals who are covering this story and getting this important message out. And the message is very clear. We want to support people's right to protest peacefully. We are in a moment of national crisis, one being fueled and not calmed by the President of the United States. Over the past month, we have seen over and over again that he has escalated threats of mass deportation. He has banned people from several from several nations. He has pushed the boundaries of the law to target vulnerable communities. These actions are not about safety. They are about hate, division, and scoring political points. And when you rip families apart and tear valued members away from our communities, all of us suffer. That's why we're here today, not just to condemn what's happening, but to affirm the constitutional right to peaceful protest. We must protest. We must resist. We must sue. We must advocate. We must vote people out of office who do not represent our values. But as we raise our voices in resistance, let's also remember that protests are not just expressions of anger, they are acts of caretaking. We are here to care for our immigrant neighbors, for our trans neighbors, for our black and brown neighbors, our working class neighbors, and we are here to take care of the neighborhoods where we are protesting. These are part of our communities too, the small businesses, the homes, the local government personnel trying to keep the peace, and for those who may not agree with us, we're here to take care of them too. In the face of a president who seeks to destabilize and divide us, we must be the peacekeepers. We must be the protectors. We must be the caretakers of a better, stronger, more united King County and United Nations. Thank you so much.
Thanks to all of our speakers, and we're happy to take any questions that folks have. And of course, I can help answer, but others will jump in as well as appropriate. Yes, go for it. Yeah.
So thank you everyone for sharing how you want to protect Washingtonians. One thing we know that is that there is a loophole that the Washington Working Bill that allows the Department of Corrections to send people from Washington into ICE custody. In this moment, ICE is violating all forms, all laws, and we have Washingtonians now sitting in Djibouti en route to South Sudan. The person who's there, his name is Twan. He served 25 years in DOC prison. He's done his time. ICE violated their own rules, and he's been sitting for 2 weeks in Djibouti. Where are Washingtonian elected officials? What are you all saying? Why aren't you bringing him home? He should be subjected to some kind of due process at the very least, but all we have is silence. So I want to ask you, Governor Ferguson, and all elected officials, what are you doing to bring Twan home? What are you doing to stop the loophole that allows the Department of Corrections to transfer Washingtonians to ICE custody in this moment where ICE is really killing people, kidnapping our people? You have a responsibility to pardon people who have done their time. This is not letting people off. They have done their time. We need to let them come home to their families as U.S. citizens are able to. So we're calling on you all to respond right now to bring Twan home.
Thank you for expressing that. And there have been, well, I don't know that situation specifically. There have, of course, been numerous situations that have been deeply disturbing here in Washington State and all across the country. My team is here. I believe we have from Congresswoman Jayapal's team is here as well. We're happy both at the federal and the state level to chat with you after this press conference to learn more about that situation and see what we can do about it, if that works for you. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Pramila, go ahead.
Let me just say a quick thing. I actually conducted a shadow hearing on Friday where we had numerous members of Congress, because we're not allowed to hold hearings on things if we're not the majority party. So we went ahead and just did a shadow hearing, and we actually had the attorneys who are representing that horrific situation where Twan and a number of others were picked up and deported against court orders, by the way, to a third country. They were going to South Sudan, they were diverted to Libya, and then taken to Djibouti and held in a metal shipping container. I have to tell you, this is stunning. So we're happy to coordinate with you on that particular individual, but we are working very closely with the attorneys to try. None of them have had due process. None of them have been able to get in touch with their attorneys, and we're very aware, and I'm happy to speak with you more on that.